arguably the most exciting thing that I find about working for Bowers Wilkins is that it's a constant and continual process of development and understanding and knowledge. You're only as good as the last thing you did, you're only as good as the last day that you were working on something, and what we've got today represents the current state of my art, but I'm very confident that, you know, the way that my colleagues work, the way that the team works, the way that everybody pulls together to produce the best product we all collectively possibly can, that in a couple of years' time will be something else that will be even better, even more advanced, even more sophisticated, because that's the nature of what we do. So we're here today to look at the latest generation of the 600 series, what we refer to as the 600 Series 3. At the same time, we're also giving people the opportunity to listen to our 800 series signature, our new flagship range. So the changes that we've done between the older generation of 600 series and the new range considerable. The new range is all about trying to offer more refinement, to offer a more immersive, kind of transparent sound. So we've focused on, as we always do, trying to maximise the quality of the drive units at the available price point. The other key thing, of course, with the 600 series is we still want it to stay affordable. We don't want it to become unattainably expensive. So it's taken a lot of, if you like, clever engineering, hopefully thought-provoking engineering, to try and kind of, if you like, marry out those two things of how do you get the most from it without making it impossibly expensive to buy. So the focus is on a brand new tweeter. We have a brand new tweeter dome technology we call the titanium dome, which is a two-part construction. So it's a 25 micron main dome reinforced around the periphery by a 30 micron secondary dome. The combination of those two things gives terrific resolution, insight and detail, but it doesn't harm sensitivity by adding mass. And what it also does is gives us a nice, refined, detailed sound. That's housed inside a completely new tweeter assembly, using a much longer tweeter dome housing, the tube loading system as we call it, which takes about 50% longer volume relative to the older generation, and that in turn means we can reduce the resonant frequency behind the dome and allow the dome to kind of breathe out more. It's got a brand new diaphragm mounting plate, which is off a 700 series loudspeaker, and a brand new tweeter grill mesh, which is off an 800 series loudspeaker, the latest generation, the signature model. So all of those things together are a really big step forward in, as I said, resolution, transparency and openness. That's coupled up to greatly upgraded and improved motor systems across all of the mid-bass, mid-range drive units and the bass drive units. They're all from 700 series. We've rearranged how the drive units fit into the cabinet so they're slightly closer together, which really helps from the point of view of how they behave coherently together, so you hear less of individual drive units and more of the whole system working as one. There's brand new ports on the back which are derived from the 700 series. There's new terminals, again derived from the 700 series. There's internal bracing that's improved to kind of behave better, make the cabinet behave quieter. And the crossover's been liberally sprinkled with good stuff from the 700 series as well in terms of new bypass capacitors. So basically, it might look outwardly and at first glance like a similar loudspeaker to the outgoing generation, but essentially everything that makes it a speaker and not just an MDF box is new. So what this means for the customer who's going to buy the product is a combination of the resolution and the detail that's always been a kind of characteristic of the 600 series, plus added refinement. And the reason we've chosen to go that way is we recognise that in the modern world, a lot of customers are using these products with relatively compact, for example, Class D type amplifiers, not necessarily the biggest or highest powered of amplifier. And we wanted to really give that listener a helping hand by trying to essentially add the sheen of sophistication and refinement that comes from a more premium loudspeaker. So essentially, should you be fortunate enough to put something like this onto a higher quality, more substantial amplifier in the future, all that will happen is it will develop, it will grow, it will sound even better. At the same time, if you're just starting out, of course that's often the case with 600 series, you're just starting out, you're getting onto your first hi-fi system, then obviously every penny counts, right? And you're thinking about an affordable amplifier, maybe you're thinking about a relatively straightforward record player if you're into vinyl. All those things coming together are given the best possible chance to succeed by the acoustic performance that we get from the new 600 series. Now, the other thing we're here to talk about beyond the new 600 series is, of course, our new flagship range, which is the 800 series signature. This is a really important range for us because it brings together essentially all of the engineering know-how that we've got at the moment. This is fundamentally the state of our art. What it does is build upon an already very highly regarded loudspeaker, in this particular case the 805 D4. We also offer a signature product in our flagship, the 801 D4. So there are two models, an 805 and an 801 at the opposite end of the scale, if you like, the smallest and largest in the 800 series range. What Signature stands for is two things. First and foremost, it's improved acoustic performance, so they really are updated and maximised in terms of how they behave. We've got refinements and improvements to the drive units, to the crossover, to the mechanical behaviour for the structure of the cabinet, to the top of the loudspeaker, to try and quieten it down even more, and that gives it an even more open and transparent sound. Coming together throughout the whole thing, basically what you hear is all the things that you're already hopefully impressed by with an 800 series diamond loudspeaker, but now written even bigger in terms of an even more Technicolor, full size, full scale image with depth and space and lots of wonderful resolution. The other thing you'll really notice, of course, you can see it here in the cabinet in front of you, is all Signature models have unique finishes. They're bespoke beyond even the very high quality finish that you get on a standard model. In the case of this particular one, it's in midnight blue metallic, which is the same paint as we apply on our very famous and iconic Nautilus loudspeaker. So there's a total of 11 coats of finish on this if you include combinations of paint and lacquer. It takes an awful long time to get to this standard. It's trimmed in matching blue Connelly leather, and the outcome is a really lovely looking loudspeaker. If you prefer a more wooden look, we also offer a California burl wood veneer, which looks spectacular, has very high figuring all over the wood, and that has a total of 14 coats of lacquer on it, which gives a really spectacular sort of lustrous look and feel. So they're beautiful, they're distinct, we think anyway. They're unique in terms of how they look relative to the standard loudspeaker, and they open up new doors in terms of performance as well.